What's going on YouTube? Dylan here with the Visor bringing you all yet another deck profile for the Speed Duel format. This is the final deck profile that we'll be doing here on the channel for pre-Shadow Riders box. I would love to just sit down and film Shadow Riders content for you all right now, but I am currently without PC or computer, so I am right now just fully videoing and editing on my phone, and doing like full-on Shadow Riders discussions is kind of a pain in the ass without having a stationary computer. Anyways, this deck was built primarily because a vast majority of my meta, or the meta at our locals at Tournament City Games, is primarily burn. You know, we play against a lot of people playing Blastsphere, a lot of people playing Mask of the Accursed, and I wanted to go into this event and I wanted to play something that will basically challenge that deck. And for me, the only thing I could find that would challenge it was Gearfried the Iron Knight. So this is just like a Gearfried kind of warrior toolbox deck. So let's get right into it. So starting with our skill card, I'm just going to attack. This card overperformed tonight. Originally, the skill for this deck was going to be digging for gold until I went to go sit down for round one and I realized I didn't have a skill card in my deck box. So I just ripped open my 3 can, started digging through, and grabbed this thinking it was digging for gold, because I saw the man on the back and was like, digging for gold. Yes. Toss it on the board. It was, I'm just going to attack, and I was just like, all right, well, this is what we're playing tonight. Yeah, so if you all don't know what this card is, first off, where have you been? Second off, during your main phase, you can make a monster you control gain 100 attack, and then during the battle, whenever your opponent activates a trap card, you can negate its effects and set that card, and each effect can only be used once per turn. So, yeah, this card overperformed. Like, this card made it to where if I were attacking into a Blastsphere or any kind of set monster, I could make sure that I wasn't going to lose to trap cards. This card helped me clear koalas, because it helped me clear Death Koala with Gearfried. It cleared Submarine Roys with Gearfried. So this card was just absolutely insane. Going into our monster lineup, starting out, 3 copies of Gearfried, 1800 Beatstick, 1800 Earth Warrior, searchable off Rhoda, searchable off of one other card in the deck as well that we'll get to here in a second. And whenever a player equips an equip card to this card, destroy that equip card. So Blastsphere is a no-no, Mask of the Accursed is a no-no, and we just can't really lose to burn when, you know, you can't be equipped by the 2 most prevalent burn pieces in their decks. So yeah, it also didn't help that the first 2 rounds that I played against the 2 burn players that were there that night. So that was definitely fun. 2 copies of Command Knight. Command Knight is just insanely good. Pumps Gearfried, pumps the entire deck by 400, including itself. And you can also set up the command lock, where if you have 2 different copies of Command Knight on the field, your opponent just cannot attack. So they have to draw into Shield Crush. They have to draw into, you know, Shield Crush. They have to draw into like Book plus Knock. They have to, you know, draw into Hammer Shot if one of them's in attack position. So it's definitely insane. Going into, I wanted removal. I wanted monster removal in the deck. I also could not find a copy of Exiled Force for this list. So I thought of the next best thing would be Soul Exchange, and I wanted a decent Soul Exchange target. And that ended up being Freed the Matchless General. And before you all hate on me, this card did work. It ate every floodgate that my opponents ever saw. Every time they saw me sacking for this card, it got floodgated. So it didn't do much, you know, face up, but it definitely won me the games because it kept eating floodgates. So yeah, any spells that target this card are negated and destroyed. And then during my draw phase, instead of conducting a normal draw, I can add a level 4 lower warrior monster from my deck to my hand. So that's where, you know, I can find Gearfried, I can find Command Knight, I can find any of the other 3 monsters that are in the deck. And one of the cards that was in this deck should have been exiled. 1000% should have been exiled. Maybe, you know, cut down on a Freed and put it in exiled for the next time if I play this deck again. But yeah, so going into the other monsters, 1 copy of Warrior Lady. My 3-up split is 1 Warrior Lady, 2 Floodgate. I was gonna do just straight 3 Floodgates, but then I remembered Warrior Lady was legal in the format. So yeah, this deck was also thrown together like an hour and a half before the event. So, just because I was purely bored, and I was going to play Rat Box or Clown Control, and I was like, I don't want to play the same old crap. I've played Rat Box so much. Clown Control just seems kind of meh to me, so this is what we're doing. So yeah, Warrior Lady, insane removal, clear Submarine Roid. If you can't tell, I fucking hate Submarine Roid. This card is stupid. It's just dumb in our locals. A lot of people play Submarine Roid, and I wanted to find a way to beat out Submarine Roid as well. 1 copy of Donnie, ripping cards from hands. Actually milled a, I can't remember what he was playing. I think it was a Cyberblader. I was playing against a Cyberblader player round 4, and yeah, when I hit him with Donnie, I milled his second Elatile and his second Cyber Skater from deck. So that was like his point of scoop. So yeah, that was always fun. And the last monster in the list is just Swordswoman. This card's just generically strong. So I figured this just needed to be in. If I were to cut anything from this list, I might cut the Swordswoman out and replace it with an Exiled, or replace one of the Freeds with the Exiled. But yeah, this was the monster lineup for the deck. For the spells, a very underwhelming spell package. 2 X-Term. We have, again, a good amount of burn players in the locals, so X-Term was just like my main deck spell trap removal of choice. I sided into different spell trap removal if need be, so this was always good value. I don't really like this card, but I was gonna play Cosmics. But then I realized it cuts into my Floodgates, into my Warrior Lady. So, and I didn't want to like main deck Twister because it only hits face-up spells. And I didn't want to play double Cyclone because all of my back row mattered. So X-Term was just kind of what I landed on. 2 copies of Soul Exchange. I definitely didn't like 2 copies of this. I saw 2 copies of it. And actually my one loss, because I went 3-1 at locals with this deck and I got 2nd place. But my one lost match, my game 2, I drew double Soul Exchange, X-Term Floodgate, and this just hurt. This could have been any other card, I would have felt better. And then finally, for our 1 copy of Rhoda, card is insane. Searches the entire deck. And then going into our traps, 2 copies of Floodgate. My other 2 3-up slots, just because, Floodgate good. Especially when people are normal summoning Submarine Roid, I can just, I can Floodgate it, set it, and then beat over it. If, they're normal summoning Mixroid, you can Floodgate it to keep them from starting from getting the Submarine Roid. Yeah, card's just generically good. 2 Wallady, card is good. I feel like I say that way too much. Card is good. I sided the 3rd copy. I didn't feel like I needed. Actually, I didn't cite the 3rd copy for this event. That was the last deck that I did. I didn't feel like I would need the 3rd copy. I wanted to keep this deck as close to 20 cards as possible, strictly because I wanted to see more of Gearfried than anything. 2 copies of Widespread, just because, protect the castle, kinda. Widespread's just like an inherently great card with this deck, because you don't want to lose out to, cards like Zoma. You don't want to lose out to big boys. So Widespread's definitely really helpful. It's really helpful against Cyberblader, because their Cyberblader becomes huge, and then if they attack with something else in their deck, you just Widespread and pop the Cyberblader. And then the last card we're playing in the list, shout out to Cody Bodner for putting in Swamp Mirror. Shout out to Cody and Dan Smith. I wasn't going to play this card originally, but the fact that I can just turn it into an Earth Warrior, make it into a 2200 beat stick with Command Knight, and yeah, just all around value. This card definitely won me some games, being able to normal summon Command Knight, activate skill target Command Knight, give it extra 100 so he goes up to 17, and then flip this up in my opponent's battle phase, or not in my opponent's battle phase, in my battle phase, and just poke them with a 2200 monster as well with the 1700, while still being protected from the first trap. Felt really good. Going into our side deck, or side extra, just like a really standard extra. I wasn't siding Waking for this event. Didn't feel like I would need it. So yeah, just really standard extra deck. And then 2 copies of Twister for our side. Mainly for like our Ancient Gear matchup. You know, Middle-Aged Mechs is a pain in the ass. Nightmare Wheel is a pain in the ass. So the cost of 500 life points definitely felt really good to get out of there. 1 copy of Knock, strictly for koalas. For koalas and for floodgated monsters if I couldn't clear them, like what is that card? Mixeroid. If I floodgate Mixeroid, I can't really clear it unless I see exactly Freed the Matchless General. So yeah, Knock definitely came in handy there. 2 copies of Mind Crush for our Cyber Angel matchup. This card really didn't perform this weekend, so just kind of sat in the extra deck. And then 1 copy of Lost Wind, again for for Cyber Angels and stuff of that nature. The only things that I really sided in this weekend is I sided in Twister this past week, past Thursday. I sided in 2 or 3 times, and one of the times against Alex Manning, I normal summoned Gearfried and I went to attack, and he Nightmare Wheeled it, and on resolution a Nightmare Wheel I twisted, or I normal summoned Gearfried, he Nightmare Wheeled, and in response I twisted, and I ended up winning that game because I drew my side cards, which again is another reason why I wanted to keep it as close to 20 as possible, because if I wanted to see my side cards, I wasn't going to see them in a 30 card pile. So yeah, definitely felt really good. Going into locals report, like I said, I went 3-1. Round 1, played against my good friend Harley, and she was one of the burn players. So we won that pretty swiftly 2-0. I opened double Gearfried both games against her and took a pretty swift 2-0. Me and Harley end up playing each other a lot because what's it called? She's like our TO, our organizer. She's like our she's like our TO and organizer. So it's always fun sitting down to play against her. Round 2, I played against our good friend Alex. Again, he was playing some kind of burn pile, and poke. Just normal summon, skill, poke. Just won me so many games. Just so yeah, another 2-0 there. Going into round 3, I played against Sean, aka Odd Toxin Gaming, and he's actually the one who ended up winning the event. We were both 2-0 going into round 3. He was playing Ratbox, and we went into game 3, but I ended up kind of getting my ass whooped in that match. I don't know if I'm going to end up posting that. I had a really bad angle with the camera for it. I did film all of my matches from this week, so that's always fun. And then round 4, I played against Nick, or one of our friends, Nick, and he was on Cyberblader, and yet another really swift 2-0 because he couldn't really, get over the man, the myth, and the legend. Like, this was my board state against him at the end of game 2, and I just couldn't lose, I mean? So yeah, that's going to be it for this deck profile. This deck was insanely consistent more than anything. There was like 1 or 2 dead hands that I didn't want to see, but other than that, I definitely felt really good about the entire event. I'm glad that I chose to play this over, Clown Control or Ratbox. So yeah, that's going to be it for this deck profile. I'm really excited to be back to doing like weekly uploads on YouTube, even though I'm technically like 2 days late with this one. But yeah, make sure to go check out the new shorts posted on the channel, and I will see you all in the next video with some Shadow Riders content. See you guys!